guys, so today we're doing this look. Okay, let's just start here. I got this palette, the Huda Beauty palette. I saw it and it immediately just like pulled on my heartstrings because it's just like, it's a palette made for smoky eyes. And I was so excited when I saw this silver color. I mean, it is just like, it's stupid. It looks like tin foil. Oh, I love it. And it's got a little bit of glitter to it. Oh, it's just beautiful. I'm obsessed with this color. So when I saw that color, I knew I had to do a silver smoky eye. So I just went for it. I was worried. I didn't know about the formula because I've never used Huda shadows before. The formula is beautiful. They blended so easy. I can just see that like an actual true black smoky eye or brown smoky eye is going to be so easy to do with this palette because they blend like a dream. I'm so excited I have it. It's super tiny. It's got a mirror. It's got everything you need for travel. So if you like this look, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Follow my Instagram. It's Matias Beauty. That way you can see more looks there. And if you want to follow along with me or just see how I got this look, then please keep watching.
Alright, getting started, we're going to prime our face with the Smashbox primer water. I'm just going to spray a few spritzes on there and let that soak in, and then we're going to move to the eyes. I'm priming my eyes with my MAC eye base, and then we're just going to blend that out. And then I'm not going to set it today because I just wanted to try something new, so I'm just going to blend it out and then let it dry to set, but not set it with any powder. And then I'm going to go in with a pore filling primer on top just to make sure the skin looks super smooth. And I'm just going to apply that all over my face. And that's the Urban Decay Optical Illusion one. It's really nice. It fills in the pores, but I do like to let it sink in first. I think the foundation applies better if it sets for a little bit. So now we're going to grab our Huda Beauty palette, and I'm going to take that top middle peachy matte shade, and I'm just going to start applying that all over the crease. It's going to be really messy because we're just applying a base layer. That way all the rest of the shades we put on top really just blend nicely and seamlessly. So we're going to apply that with just a nice long-haired fluffy brush all over the crease and down even around the sides of the eye, just because we're going to clean it up later, so you really don't have to be super neat or precise with it. And then after that, we're going in with that middle bottom row with that lighter brown shade. And we're just going to start packing that onto the sides of the eye. And now as you can see here, I'm just going to pack it and then blend these shadows. Blended so easily. So this was really just so easy to do. They did apply slightly more sheer. They're not the most pigmented eyeshadows in the world. I mean, as you can see, there's plenty of pigment, but I do like the blendability of these shadows. They're just the perfect mix of pigmented but not overly pigmented and still really blendable. So as you can see, I'm just going to keep going back in with that shade until I get my desired darkness. I think I only did this twice, and I just pat it on. And then I just go right back in and blend it out. And we're just making sure to add a lot of drama onto the outer corner of the eye. And then make sure it's all blended out. And as you can see, I think I took a little bit of that peachy shade just to blend through, just to make sure everything stays seamless. And now I'm taking the darkest brown in the palette, and I'm going to do exactly what I did with that lighter brown and focus it a little bit closer to the lash line, but really just, and a little bit like before the darker brown, but I'm basically just going to define that outer corner even more with that darker brown. And as you can see, I just messily apply it, and then I go in with a separate brush and blend. I think the key to a really nice smoky eye is to apply with one brush and blend with the other, and that avoids getting super muddy or really messy. And that just allows all your shades to get blended without getting overly just muddy and not looking right. So now I'm just making sure that first corner of the eye is nice and blended. I am going to apply the silver shade, but I just wanted to make sure there's no choppy lines, because if you just blend as you go, then it's a lot easier to blend at the end. And then once again, I'm going back in with that darker shade. I typically always do this with all my smoky eyes. I start with a little bit and then add more. I find it a lot easier to go in slowly opposed to adding a ton of pigment right away. I just find that a lot harder to blend. So as you can see, I'm just blending that all out. And I always just like to go over it one more time, make sure everything's blended. I'm taking that peachy shade again. I always make sure my inner corner, like that's sunk in towards your nose, is nice and blended. Mine's pretty dramatic, so you can really tell if something isn't blended there. So I think it's super important to make sure that you don't neglect that area, especially when you're doing a look that's on the outer corner. And now I am taking just some makeup remover and I'm just cleaning up that line. It's going to get cleaned up more with foundation and concealer and all of that, but just to make it easier for my eyeliner, I'm going into my Inglot Gel Liner and I'm just going to do a nice thick liner. For whatever reason, I started doing my liner before I applied the silver color, so that was definitely not intentional, and I would definitely recommend doing the silver and then the liner. That was just a total mistake on my part. I was just getting excited. So I popped a little glitter glue on just so there's no transfer, and I just started applying that silver shade with my finger and then just kind of cleaning it up with the brush. It applied really well with both. It obviously applied a little bit more pigmented with the finger, but you could totally use a brush or your finger. It was beautiful either way. I loved that shade. And now I'm going back in with that little brush and then just those two darker shades just to make sure that the transition from the silver to the dark colors are nice and seamless and there's no choppy lines. And then after this, I'm going to go back in and just basically darken up. Well, at first I'm just blending over that peachy shade once again, making sure just everything is super seamless. And then I went in off camera and redid the liner because I forgot to do that. That definitely wasn't on purpose. And now I'm going with my Lilly lashes in Miami. These are some of my favorite lashes. They go with everything. They're so pretty. They're so comfortable to wear. They last so long. I really can't recommend a lash enough. I love these. The only thing is they are very long, so if you don't like a super long lash, this might not be the one for you, but I love it. And now I'm going in with my Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation. I bought this foundation a while ago and it is so matte on me. I really had a hard time blending this. This was not my ideal foundation for this look, but it's what I use, so we're going to work with it. I started blending it in with the Beauty Blender and just blended it all around. And now I'm taking my Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I am just applying this under my eyes, and then I'm going to go in with a different concealer everywhere else. I don't really know why I did this, just to be extra, I guess. So I'm applying it under my eyes and right up to, but not against that liner, because if you apply right up against that liner, I just find it becomes so messy and hard to blend. So I like to apply it pretty close to the liner, but not right alongside of it. And then I'm taking my Colourpop No Filter Concealer. I've really been loving this concealer. It looks so beautiful on the skin, and it really does look nice as a highlighter, like I'm using just around the other areas of my face. I think it applies beautifully on the skin, and I love it. I think it was just a little too light for my kind of tanned. With the tan I had with the foundation, I thought it was a little too light, which is why I didn't use it completely. And now I'm just going to go back in with a sponge and I'm going to blend all this out. As you can see, I switched to my Real Technique sponge and I'm actually spraying it with a little bit of that same Smashbox water. For some reason, my Beauty Blender is like, I got a new one recently and it's terrible. I'm not sure what is going on, if I just happened to get a dud, but I'm really not happy with it. And I've used Beauty Blenders for as long as I can remember. I love them. I bought probably 100 of them at this point. And so I don't know, that was really weird. But now I'm just going to set my concealer with my Perfect Setting Powder by CoverFX, and I just press it in. That powder is beautiful as well. I love it. And now I'm taking my Charlotte Tilbury powder, and I'm just going to set the rest of my face. Since this is such a dramatic look, I wanted to make sure the skin was very flawless. It didn't need to be super dramatic, but I wanted just to make sure that everything was very flawless and blended nicely. So I'm going in with a sponge and applying it, and now I am going to take that same translucent powder and I'm going to carve out my cheeks. Now normally I carve out my cheeks after, but I have been loving to do this. And now I'm going to take a fan brush with my contour powder by Makeup Forever and I'm going to contour right on that line. And as you can see, once this is all over, this just applies your contour so beautifully. It has a somewhat natural effect to it towards the end. I mean, not right now, it looks pretty dramatic, but this is just amazing. I really love that you can contour messily and quickly and still get a beautiful effect. And when you use a fan brush, it just somehow applies a lighter amount of product so it's not overly stark. It's just beautiful. And now I'm just chiseling out my jaw with the same powder. And then Right after that, I'm just going to go in with a dual fiber brush and just blend it out to make sure there's no harsh lines. Because when you are using that brush, I do find that it can be a little choppy. So you do need to blend it out with a different brush, but I just find the application to be beautiful. And now I'm going in with a brush and I'm blending out all that powder. And as you can see, it just leaves this like somewhat natural, but yet defined contour. It's amazing. And now I'm just taking a little bit of bronzer and applying that over my contour, on my temples. I'm just kind of applying it everywhere to warm up my face a little bit. I felt really pale, and I just wanted a little bit more color, and also that once again just blends out your contour even more and makes it even more natural, because when you put that bronzer on top, it just really makes everything super seamless. And now I'm going in and contouring my nose. I'm taking that same contouring powder. I applied basically 2 lines down the side of my nose with a brush. And now I'm taking my NARS Ita brush and I'm going to blend that out and just go over it. And then I'm going to take it and run it under my nose just to kind of stop my nose at the tip. And then I'm applying some contour powder all the way around my lips, and that's just going to really define them too. It's kind of like contouring your lips. I did it really messily, but I still think it does a little something. And then I'm taking that highlighting powder and I'm going to use that to brighten up my under eyes, but also just to pinch in the nose. That way it just helps with the contour. It's hard to explain, but when you apply it kind of on top of your contour line and right up to it, it just really helps to pinch in your nose and just make your contour look a little bit more realistic. So I love to do that. I find it really pretty. And then also, once again, make sure you blend that inner corner out, especially when you contour your nose. You really can't neglect that area. And then I'm just taking that same brush and I'm just going to blend all over to make sure everything's seamless. I'm taking that fluffy brush and I'm just dusting off any powder that maybe it was just sitting on top of the skin, just so that nothing looks powdery, because I know we're applying a lot of products. Now I'm taking Exposed by Tarte. It's just a really pretty pink cool tone blush, and I thought it was perfect for this look. I'm applying a light amount. I've been loving blush recently, so I'm not applying a ton, but I do love blush right now. And then I'm taking that same sponge, and if you get a little crazy with your blush, you can always press that blush in with the sponge, and that just really blends everything out, and I love that trick. I do that with basically all of my foundation and powders and products. If anything ever gets too crazy, I always just run my sponge over it. Now I'm taking that darkest shade and I'm applying it under the lash line. I'm basically just lining the whole entire under eye with that color. And then we are going to go with eyeliner, so you could totally do that first. Once again, it was just one of those things where I didn't know what I wanted until I had done it. So after I realized I wanted it, then I popped the liner on. And now I'm going in with that peach shade, and I'm just going to start blending out that color. As you can see, I just spent a lot of time making sure everything is really seamless and blown out. And now I am taking that liner and I'm basically going to line my entire waterline, my lower and upper waterline. I know, sorry, that's pretty gross. But that's just going to make sure that the eyes really pop and are really dramatic, and that everything, the lashes and the liner, everything just kind of become one and really just go nicely together. And now I'm taking the darkest brown. I'm sorry, I took the medium brown before. Now I'm taking the darkest brown and I'm going to run it right alongside that black liner. And then that's just going to blend the two together and just really add this smoky pop to the look. You can always go in with that black and do that too. I just figured I had so much going on the top lash line that I didn't want to also add black. I just kind of wanted to make it smoky and defined, yet not overly dramatic. And then I'm going back in with that shade and I'm just blending it out. You really need to spend a lot of time on your lower lash line. I know a lot of people get to this point in their makeup and then they just kind of neglect it, don't do anything, or just don't blend enough. Really make sure you blend that lower lash line, because that really needs to be nice and blown out, and that will give your eye such an awake look and not look harsh. Now I'm just applying some clear brow gel to my brows. I already had them done earlier. I just used my KaBrow by Benefit. And now I'm spraying some Smashbox spray again. This is just going to, 1, help with the powder on my face, and 2, prep my skin for my highlighter so everything just really sticks nicely. I'm going with my Anastasia Glow Kit in Gleam. I wanted a pinky cool tone highlight, and I just love these ones. So I'm taking, I think that's Starburst. It's the bottom left color when you're looking at the palette. I put that on first. And then I'm going to go in with Crushed Pearls, which is my favorite one. And that's just the most icy, pinky, white, beautiful highlight ever. So after I apply Crushed Pearls, I'm just going to take that, after I applied Starburst, I'm going to put Crushed Pearls just on the very high points of my face, just to really pop that highlighter. It's definitely not necessary. I know with such a dramatic look, a strong highlight isn't necessary, which is why I went in with the sponge and pressed it in a little bit, but I just can't help myself. I ran it down my nose and in that little crease I have in between like my nose and my forehead. I don't know why. I think that looks pretty there. And then I put it on my Cupid's bow and my upper lip and just really made sure that looked nice and bright. And yeah, I popped those on there. And I like to use a smaller brush for more precision. I just think it looks nicer and it's just easier and it avoids looking oily in my opinion. Popped a little bit on my chin and then I'm just blending it all out with the bigger brush. And now I'm taking my all-nighter spray. I like to do this before my bottom mascara because I don't want my mascara to run. So then I put bottom mascara on and now I'm going in with Anastasia Stripped liquid lipstick. I love this liquid lipstick, but I'm a little fair, so it looked very pink on me, so I wanted to pop a little bit of a peachy, lighter liquid lip. So then next I'm going to go in with Tarte's liquid lip in, wow, how many times can I say liquid lip? In Salty, and I'm just going to apply that, and that just neutralized the pink a little bit and lightened it up, and I really love how it turned out. I'm almost there. I'm clearly very slowly applying my liquid lip today. But once I apply that lighter color, it's just going to make the lips stand out a little bit and even make them look a little bigger because it's basically going to highlight the center of the lip. And so I just apply that and blend it all in, and that's the finished look. Thank you so much for watching.